No, yeah, it's seriously fast.
It's because the corners are all sweeping. You can go round a narrow track very fast.
Yeah. The first two sectors of the track is fiercely fast. It's faster than, it's as fast as Donington Park, but half the width.
It's Sunday afternoon and we're at Cadwell Park. Joe has just qualified 13th in British Supersport on his Suzuki GSXR 750. But Joe is not best pleased. With previous finishes in the top 5 within the stock 1000 class, he knows he can do better than 13th. So it was time for us to sit down, put our heads together and find out what we can do before race 1 and race 2 the day after.
Obviously, Cadwell's not a conventional track. So where you come out of the holding area, you've got to go through Hob Ends, through the airpin, through Barn, and then you've got to pull through pit lane. And then pit lane opens 10 minutes before race starts. Pit lane at Cadwell Park is tiny, and there's...
Not a real pit lane.
No, it's not a real pit lane.
It's a bunch of tents.
It is. There's no garages, it's just tents, and it's absolutely rammed with riders and mechanics and all kinds of people, and it's just manic. It'd be nice for you to get a video of that, actually, wouldn't it?
I have.
Oh, yeah?
I sent your girlfriend down there with Insta camera.
Oh, did you?
She walked up and down pit lane with Insta 360 camera.
Oh, yes.
So we've got a 2-minute selfie of your missus.
Oh, fantastic.
She's got one.
Oh, cool.
And here we have Mr. Maxfield.
Miserable old git.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you can see how mad it is.
But that's because it's a park circuit, right?
Yeah, it's old school. It's there's no runoff. The facilities are good that they've got, but there's just no garages. It's raw. It's proper racing.
Hello? 2.5.
So yeah, pit lane opens. We all fly out, try not to wipe each other out, because it was that tight. Like you were jamming bikes in front of another. It was wild. Cadwell Park grid is fantastic. It's narrow, obviously, but there's just something about the feel of Cadwell Park when you line up on the grid. You know, the spectators to the left of you in the field can get so close, and you've just got a great view of everybody. Cadwell Park always brings good spectators. Bank holiday weekend, it's rammed full of people, isn't it?
It's a nice place to be as well.
Yeah.
Park circuit, it's just nice.
It's great. But yeah, there is no feeling like being on the grid at Cadwell Park. The track's wild. There's no runoff. You can't make a mistake. You get pushed out wide at this track, you're on the grass. You're going down, probably.
When I speak to people about this track, they all say, oh, it's so narrow, it's not a fast track. But just because it's narrow doesn't mean it's not fast.
No, yeah, it's seriously fast.
It's because the corners are all sweeping. You can go round a narrow track very fast.
Yeah. The first two sectors of the track is fiercely fast. It's faster than, it's as fast as Donington Park, but half the width. It's great. We do his warm-up lap, and I went for it in my warm-up lap, actually. I wanted to see what the faster boys were doing, to be fair.
We were up there at the top.
Yeah, well. it was a fast warm-up lap. It was pretty speedy. I was just like, right, I'm having this. This is my track. We do well here. So we started 13th, which is not ideal. I had a number in my head before I came here this weekend, and we were just nowhere near it.
Do you want to be top 10?
And more. I've been top 5 around here in the past in stock thou. I can do it. But we just didn't have the space at this moment in time. My lap 1, my start was great. Straight into turn 1, and I was like, oh God, we've gone forward a lot.
Straight up to P10, wasn't it?
Straight up to P10, yeah. It was a great start, great first corner, and for the first race, racing in Supersport, I didn't get battered out of the way by anybody. Held my own ground, made steps forward, and I was like, wow, this lap 1 is fantastic.
Got your elbows out.
Yeah, got my elbows out,
Good.
Got stuck in. I was loving it. And it was all going well until I missed a gear going into the chicane on lap 2. Went over the grass, saved it, nearly went down. It seems to be a thing with me with first laps in this class. The last one we caught on TV, the last one was great. But yeah, this one not as stylish, but equally as costly. I think we dropped a couple of positions, and then that's kind of really where we stayed in the race. But we did have a great three-way battle.
Yeah, you were nice and packed.
Yeah, three-way battle for 12th place, which was nice. The worst thing in the world in a race is to be on your own. So as long as you've got a race, the laps fly by, you don't feel as tired. And
was everyone on the same pace? Was not feeling held up?
yeah, I don't know. Cadwell Park's difficult because it's so narrow. It's easy to get caught behind somebody, and they only have to be a couple of tenths slower, and they'll hold you up, and the next guys will catch you up. But trying to make an overtake round here, you've got to make it count, make it stick, and sometimes it's, most of the time it's pretty brutal. So I was planning my overtakes, and I've got a special place at Cadwell Park where I'm a lot stronger than most people, so this has to be an overtaking point for me. It's pretty much the only place I overtake around here. One place.
You can tell people where that is?
No. Not a chance.
Just look back where Joe's done every overtake ever.
So yeah, last lap, overtook up my special overtaking place. In fact, me and the guy in the middle overtook the guy at the front. So
you and the Kramer overtook the R6?
Yeah.
TJ Thomas?
No.
Who's on the R6? It's
Carter Brown.
Carter Brown.
We've done the R6. I'm like, right, where am I going to get this Kramer? Because it's a V-twin KTM, and it's so different to my bike, so it makes its time up in different places, and it's it's an absolute nightmare to try and get past. I couldn't pin an overtake that would be clean enough to keep us both in that position. So unfortunately, I had to settle for 13th, which I was not happy about. But at the same time, it's not a bad place to finish, but it's just not what we wanted around here. It's not what we expected. So race 1, P13, not happy.
Monday morning rolls around and it's the day of the feature race. The only things to do before morning warm-up is to have a brew and get Joe's kit prepped. But not everyone wants to be on camera first thing in the morning.
It's worse than being with a sniper. Off.
Joe's busy getting warmed up before he's out on track. The bike's getting its final check over, it had a final prep last night, and we managed to get data logging working on the bike. So that means this 10-minute session is super important for us to gather as much data as we can so we can help Joe make that next step for the feature race. We all went trackside to watch Joe spin up 5 practice laps before heading back to the awning to see what we could improve on the bike for the next race. One thing that was glaringly obvious as soon as we got back was the coolant temperature was running too high. We had a new radiator in stock, so we got that fitted on and bled up before the next session, just to keep those coolant temps down the best we could. Radiators get less efficient over time, the fins bend, which means less air can pass through them, so less heat can be taken away from the radiator and the coolant, so a new one just maximises the efficiency. Now, one rule of racing is don't make dramatic setup changes between races. Well, we did that. We decided we need to make a big step in the gearing, so although Joe is in a comfortable gear pattern as he was, it doesn't mean that's the most efficient gear pattern for the track. So we made a considerable step in sprocket size, hopefully to help Joe in a few areas on the track that he was struggling with. And of course, a brand new set of tyres were going on. So Joe jumped on the scooter to get a new front fitted while we fitted the rear, which is already prepped on the warmer.
Come on. We go.
Ready?
Ready? Coming.
With that, Joe's out on track, completing his outlap, ready to line up on the grid for the warm-up and then the race. At this point, the guys met him on the grid and got feedback on that gearing. Joe loved it. He said he had a much better gear pattern and it pulled much better in certain corners where he was struggling. So he was happy, ready for the race, which started with a busy first lap. Joe managed to keep hold of 13th place and stay with a good pack of riders, setting himself up for the first half of the race. In this groups was the like of Matt Truelove, Alistair Seeley and Carter Brown, so he was in good company. He managed to stick with them for the next 10 or so laps. It was an 18 lap race. They were all gifted a spot when Curry dropped it, fighting for the lead. This gave Joe 12th place while he was fighting in a pack all the way up to 8th. Joe was consistently setting faster lap times than he had been all weekend, but it just wasn't enough to stick with the whole pack. Alistair Seeley was consistently a few tenths faster, which meant the pack got split in half when he drew another rider with him, but this meant Joe was in a two-way battle for 10th place with Carter Brown. The last 4 laps concluded on the last lap with a nasty high side.
This is the last lap. Carter Brown. That's on Joe Shelton's shore. He's gone in deep, and then he's gone on the barrel. Oh, that's horrible. That's a horrible high side.
He's absolutely fine. He's on the dirty part of the track.
This meant Joe came home with his first top 10 in the Supersport class on his 3rd weekend of racing, which, to use Joe's favourite phrase, he was content with, not happy. Happy is for when he finishes closer to the front.
Where's the trolley?